Hi. Hi, Cancer. This is Gina. Thank you for joining me today. I just finished recording your March horoscope, and hopefully that will come out by the end of the day, um, later today. But I just thought it was a great opportunity to check in with you a little bit more casually. I have two different aspects of my channel. Excuse me for adjusting my little setup here. Um, I have two things that I do on my channel. First, I have my Astrology Chat Live daily video here that I do live every day where we talk about the current astrology and connect. And then I also have horoscopes that I put out each month for each sign. And so there's so much going on in the astrology right now that I kind of wanted to take this opportunity to kind of combine the two and just connect with you more casually. So, as we're talking today about the current astrology, the upcoming astrology, and maybe a little bit even of post-diction, as they call it, instead of prediction, where we look back just a little bit, which can be a really helpful thing to do in astrology. I think it's not quite talked about enough. Um, as we do that, please feel free to let me know any questions or ideas or thoughts that you have in the chat. If you're watching this later, feel free to leave any questions in the comments and I will get back to you, even if you're watching this days or weeks after the recording. So also know that my horoscopes will come out later and you can find those on my channel, or I'll link them at the end of this video. I'll link that video at the end of this one once it's out for March of 2025. Okay, so it's really great that the timing worked out the way that it did so that I would be talking to you, Cancer, right now, because you especially have kind of a really big transit happening this weekend, which is that Mars here is stationing direct. Mars has been retrograde in Cancer for several weeks. Mars has been in Cancer since like January, and then Mars has been retrograde here for a very long time as well. And oh my gosh, Mars has just been sitting at 17 degrees of Cancer. And Mars will continue to. This is a slow moving planet. I feel like I always forget how long a Mars retrograde truly is. We're used to these little 3-week Mercury retrogrades, and then Venus retrograde comes in with 40 days, and then Mercury comes in and it's like 3 months, and it just feels like it's going on and on. But Mars stationing direct in just a couple of days is having a big impact, and especially for you with this falling in your first house, Cancer. So, I mean, just having Mars in your first house this whole time, sort of all winter, and this will continue for the next couple of months. I want to say you have a lot of energy. If Mars was moving forward, I would say that you have a lot of energy. But I almost want to say you have a lot of emotional energy because of this retrograde. You could be doing quite a lot of rethinking, reconsidering, redoing, reevaluating as this time is processing. And I have to say, with Mars in the first house, especially retrograde, especially in Cancer, you could be a little bit prone to um, like outbursts, sudden uh, emotional um, expressions of how you're feeling, and that can happen to anyone with um, with Mars retrograde for sure. Good morning, Jones. Nice to see you. I just want to respond to you really quickly and say good morning, and also say that on my channel I have horoscopes for February for Sagittarius. It'll probably be another week before I do March for Sag, but February is up there and we're still definitely in February, and thank you for joining either way. So yeah, it could be, Cancer, that with Mars at this sign and house, you've been feeling a little more emotional lately, and perhaps you've been expressing that in ways you're not 1,000% proud of. That is a possibility, and it happens to all of us. Now, with Mars moving direct, I think there's a much better opportunity to sort of sort all of that out and help to move it forward in a more productive way. But retrogrades are productive, period, because they're sort of asking us to really drill down in one particular life area. A great way to use this energy, Cancer, especially now that Mars is moving direct, is to exercise, to dance, to walk in nature, to exercise, to move your body in some kind of way, to be athletic. Mars in the first house can be quite athletic. So any like new routine that you might want to get into that would involve being more physical, the next few weeks would be a great time to do that. You may even already be in a process of that that began earlier this winter. That would actually be a super healthy expression of this energy. So that might be something to think about. Kind of want to move on to something else in your chart. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Just keeping in mind with it that everything really is positive ultimately. Everything really is positive ultimately. So you're going through a process right now, and I don't mean to sort of speak in a negative way about that Mars retrograde, but it can feel a little bit challenging. So if it felt a little bit challenging, I just wanted to honor that by speaking to it. Good morning, Heatley. Nice to see you. And this is my live astrology channel, and I'm talking about the current astrology for Cancer rising or Cancer suns. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your question. Okay, so Cancer, we need to talk about these two sectors of your chart because this is kind of the big news. February, March, April, and honestly beyond, like into 2026, really. There's so much happening in these two signs and houses. There's so much going on in Pisces and in Aries, and that's a really interesting thing. It's an interesting place for so much to be happening, right? Because Pisces is the end of the zodiac and Aries is the beginning. So planets sort of toying around with that point in the sky feels a little extra interesting. So for the most part, the planets move counterclockwise. They move this way through the chart. So many of these planets are moving from Pisces into Aries. But there is one exception to that, and it is the North Node. The North Node isn't a planet, it's a point in the sky, and it relates to the point in the sky where eclipses are occurring. That point actually moves this way. So we just had the North Node cross over this point. And now, soon, Saturn will, Neptune will, Mercury will, and then we're going to have this amazing thing in March where we have a Venus and a Mercury retrograde at the same time, both of them moving through Aries back into Pisces, then stationing direct and moving back into Aries. So it's actually just a wild, and there's actually even more, but I don't want to go on and on about it and bore you. You know, my hope with this channel is that it works for everyone. That if you're learning astrology and you're interested in astrology, you can sort of learn a little bit from following along more closely with the chart. And if you just want to sort of hear your horoscope and hear about the astrology, you can sort of just let that part be in the background and enjoy it as well. I just kind of want the tone to feel like you're hanging out with your friend who just happens to be an astrologer. That's sort of, especially for this astrology chat live, that's sort of what I'm hoping for. I want to go back and forth. So keep leaving your comments in the chat at any time that you're seeing this, and just thank you for being here. But just to say about this, okay, going back here, Cancer. See, I feel like I'm talking too fast today. There's a lot of energy. Let me just take a sip of water. It's this Mars stationing direct, honestly, and also Venus and Aries. Okay, but the Pisces and Aries sector of the chart are both very lit up right now. And see how they're sort of crowning your chart? They're right above. This relates to your career and your work. And this sector relates to your beliefs and your ideas and maybe your education, sort of the way you see the world. So all of that is getting a lot of attention and energy for the next few months in all kinds of different ways. We're working with a Venus retrograde, which is sort of bringing to light the way you feel about things now, the way you feel about things from the past at work in terms of your beliefs and ideas. Mercury retrograde is making you think about things differently, helping you realize how you think about things differently, and helping you have those conversations and move things forward in a different way. We have Neptune in the North Node sort of bringing in a dreaminess, an ability to almost take your dreams and make them manifest into reality. Neptune is dreams, and the North Node is fate and what's really meant for us. So those two coming together, it's almost like helping to bring in those things that are really meant for you when it comes to your work, when it comes to your philosophy. Saturn is there helping us do the hard work that's necessary. It's not just a woo experience. Saturn is giving us action steps to make these dreams happen. There's just so much happening in these two sectors. So, this is a big theme for you. Career, your beliefs and ideas. There's going to be a lot going on in those sectors of your life for the next little while, Cancer. And on the other side of this, you might feel by the time that we get to the early summer that things have really changed when it comes to your beliefs, when it comes to your work and your career. You may be in a really different place because of this process that's unfolding now that's really just beginning in February. So I'm looking in the chat. I don't think there's anything else for me to respond to. Looking at your chart, seeing if there's anything big that jumps out at me. I guess the only other thing I do want to say, Cancer, is I'm also just really falling in love with this South Node in Virgo signature. I feel like it's helping us to let go of perfectionism, to release the need to sort of control everything, micromanage everything, be detail oriented. And I just love that being something that's coming in for all of us. And it's something that we'll be working with for the next 18 months or so. Wherever the South Node is moving through a sign, whichever sign it's moving through, we sort of have the opportunity to release the difficult sides of that sign's signature. And that allows for the more positive signs of the signature to come to light. So for you, Cancer, you have this in your third house, which is all about your communication. So sort of releasing that need to control conversations. I feel like you probably aren't, I'm not saying you're like this all the time or even too much, but maybe working on being less critical, even less critical. And that allows for sort of a deeper level of connection where your actions are coming from a pure place. And I think that that's really ultimately what you want, Cancer. You want that depth of connection and that emotional bond. And so letting go of the need to sort of over control communication or conversations or something. There's something in that for you. I wonder if that resonates for anyone. Let me know in the comments if these themes are something you're starting to see for yourself, or in the chat if you're watching this live. Although I think we are sort of wrapping up now. I will link to the March video once it comes out. I'll put February here. And also, I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks.